Okay, this recording is being done on open broadcaster software so that I can switch between my video and my monitor and stuff like that. So this video is just off the top of my dome. I just want to talk about organic portals. You know, recently I've done a few little play videos where I was just, mucking around, put up a few little videos about organic portals, and then I showed you guys those 17 upcoming videos, 15 upcoming videos, and so on. But, I just felt like talking about it, so no, let's just call this one off the top of my dome. So we're just freestyling. And freestyling is something organic portals don't seem to be good at, or they can only do it by mimicry and, repetition. This is surface learning. When you're divinely inspired, you become like Descartes, yeah, and you create calculus at the rate a graduate student now learns it. That's divine inspiration when it comes from within, and where you are then the vector that the universe is taking, at least one vector of itself. Now that brings me to the next point, that the OPs, are like atrophy. And I always keep talking about when you wake up, you're like entropy. You've got all possibility at your doorstep of your mind, and if you take a step, you become a vector. If you decide out of all the possible things that you could do, that you're capable to do, which one is the one vector of your art, your expression into this world, your self-expression into this multiplicity of creative world, this world of sentience. It's an interesting concept, the OPs. So, where I first learnt the language organic portal was from this site here, Veil of Reality. I have not read the Humans Are Free one. Where's Montauk? It should be, yep, Montauk here, and this is the second one that I read. Now, originally, apparently, it has come from the Cassiopeia. Now, the Cassiopeia or Cassiopeia is a star system, so this is channeling. This is where we get into the spiritual channeling origins, or the divine origins of the whole theory, apparently. From what I'm aware of, it's come from this channel of the Cassiopeia. I think if we go to here, it's probably from this website, I'm not sure. I have read partially the Cassiopeia. Yeah, I think this is it. Looks like the same text and website. So, they said they've received a lot of hate over the years from religious people, no doubt. Okay, look, the point is that in this one they speak very lovingly. It's very, channelly and spiritually. And then in Montauk, those Cassiopeia guys talk against this guy here, which I've emailed, and I've talked to this guy. I forget his name now, but he seemed alright. And I like what he's written. Things such as, to be nice can be a way the Matrix can ensnare you and predict you if you're always nice. Then the organic portals love that. That's why there's so many of us Syrian rebels who are rebelling so hardcore against the organic portals. Like if you see that internet video of, you know, the guy who's at like the cafe or something and he's pretty well built and he's like confronting an organic portal or some shit and asks the guy about riding bikes and shit, that video. He's like from, he has Syrian energy. I still have to look at this guy, but he has Andromedan energy by the looks of him more. I've seen a few of this guy's videos as well. Watched that one as well. I remember that video thing, so I've watched that. Can't remember if I've watched this one. So, you know, I've covered other people's material, but that's not where I want to talk from today. And, you know, these other materials here, all the ones I've covered, they'll be in, you know, their ideas, some of them, the ones that I fully agree with and stuff, or fully understand, I'll be expressing too, and connecting it to my own expression. Anyway, of this phenomena, so to speak. I like such other comments out there, such as Dolores Cannon calling them backdrop people. If you think backdrop in movies, you know, when the movie always has a souled human hero, always has a souled human bad guy, which the energy is just, it's souled human and complex, but it's just turned negative. And then the dark side, well actually, as there is a sucking into dark side, there's a sucking into unconsciousness. But, you know, you can be souled and turn, I guess, and become, you know, the dark side. There are paths to the dark side for that reason, that there is polarity. You know, but yeah, generally darkness is associated with the devoidance of the light spectrum, and all the lights together, all the colours of lights make up the white light. And so the white light is, you know, the concretive light, and the fuller light, not the empty or devoid light, that would be the dark matter, and it's reverberated as above so below in physical space as well, with the undifferentiated dark matter, where we've now co-created light bodies in after 20 billion years, yeah? So now we're the conscious creators stepping out of the passive creation. This is the idea that the souled humans are the seekers, we are the vectors of the universe, and Dolores Cannon's comment that the organic portals or OPs are backdrop people is a cool one. I thought that, you know, melded in well. It's a good way to summarize it. Hey, it sounds a bit emotionless and without fourth dimensional. Well, that's fifth dimensional description or logic. The fifth dimension is always so logical, like the Vulcans on Star Trek. That race really epitomizes a fifth dimensional race in that manner, not in all fifth dimensional manners, but in the manner of logic. You know, the fifth dimensional zone of reality is that string theory logical zone, Planck length area. Anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about. So, you know, I've covered some material. What I want to talk about now is really just, you know, this Cassiopeia, they say we've got to love them. Then there's people like the Montauk who will say, you know, don't be so fooled, don't be so naive, don't be so easy to play, because it is a sort of game, you know, the game of life. And, you know, we've got all these physicists telling us they're finding ones and zeros at the very substance in their equations of the universe, which would equate to Planck length, which are aforementioned. Anyway, so there's a thing with inscension ascension, in my opinion, we call it, through the higher heart. And it's through half, the earth heart. You guessed it. I say from earth to the stars, and indeed it goes from your heart chakra to your crown as well, mimicked, you know, as above so below style. Now, there's another little point to screw in the wall, the organic portal thing, in relation to what I just said. if we're going to pierce the veil of reality, we kind of have to realize that the organic portal is like not ascended. They haven't made it to like the Planck length and crossed the nexi into the upper dimensions of themselves, which is their soul. That's where it happens, up there. Inward, onward, and upward style. It's up there somewhere, we call it, the soul, in and upward. People will say in and up through the pineal gland and stuff like this. Tracing your star stream backward, so to speak, inward to the innards of the universe, to the center of the universe, and then inward. We have this idea that energy is condensed, right? And light is slowed. And that creates what we see as physical edge and second dimensionality, and the edge or stuff being hard. When you punch a wall, it's your edge hitting the edge of the wall field. And so you have an edge. That edge is what I call the second dimension, basically. The second dimension is the variety of and the domain of things made out of stuff as well, you can think of it. The third dimension is zonal reality, so it's like your lifeline. Do you have your own lifeline? Are you your own real time cell, or are you a backdrop person? Just there giving your energy out. Are you... just there giving your energy away. The idea is to radiate, be so soul-filled that you radiate freely. And look, that's why Cassiopeia and those type of people, very radiating spiritual people who have made it very far inside, do want to just radiate love and stuff, okay? Because that's where you get, that's what is at the end. Psychedelisation is at the end, love is at the end, Eros and the eschaton, 2012. Anyway, so look, there's a lot of stuff on this, and obviously I can talk about this off the top of my head, and I prefer to relate to their works but not go into there and read about it. I've made that video already where I actually put out some stuff from Veil of Reality, and I put out some stuff from Montauk's website on the video. I'll put their text in reference to their website on a video under Organic Portal Theorem on my YouTube. That's already got, I think, 4,000 views. So now I've finished university, I can talk about stuff. That's the point. I just want to chill out, and I want to talk about this shit. Because while I was at university, it was really bad. That brings me on to another point. There's a lot of frequency control at university. Frequency control. Your frequency controlled. Yeah? Your expression of frequencies controlled. Frequency control. Welcome to the concept. Okay, so at university and in society, there's a lot of frequency control. That the draconian plan is to create static resonance grids. Static resonance, not a resonance, in other words. Unsouled nature. I've always said the system is de-souling you. What is the concrete jungle? It may negatively charge you, concrete, because it's electrically conductive, but it does not soulfully connect you. When you stand on the earth, you're fully connected as much as you can be on the earth barefoot. There's an idea here. Perfect picture. This is from Veil of Reality, that website. Come on, open up. As I said, missing ascension, which happens via the higher heart, which the soul human has had, which turns on the upper Merkabic or Merkaba triangle, so you get the upper rotating triangle, or does it rotate that way? I forget. And what the OP has is just the bottom rotating, and they're spinning down always. They're never spiraling up. You notice that they're never ebulliently, cosmic ecstatically happy, and that you only see that in souled humans. It's because they're missing. They're missing. Their light is missing from themselves. Would you be happy? No, so let's have some compassion. So in ways, I agree with Cassiopeia, and to be so loving and approach this with compassion, and indeed the higher mind, that's what I believe that, and this goes with the ET phenomenon thing. If you get more intelligent, you become more benevolent, because as you understand things, you understand as understanding increases, hate necessarily becomes irrelevant. And so you become benevolent more and more as intelligence aggregates, in my opinion. And so, you know, that's why you get very spiritual people talking about let's just love them and stuff. But look, there's people like me and this guy who, and look, I'm both. I am the all. When you get to know me, you'll see who I really am, that I'm very much the spectrum shaman. I'm a cross-grid walker. Across the grids of experience, yeah? That's another thing. Organic portals are stuck in grids. Notice they're the type of people that will still have one job their whole life if they can. And they're very, you know, dedicated to their corporations, which are sucking their soul, anyway, through their time and their attention, which they then pass on to us and suck us. Anyway. So, the whole thing here about, let's call him Matt. I forgot his name. I think his name was Matt or something. No, it's not Matt. Was it? Fuck, I forgot your name, mate. Well, Matt from Montauk. Let's just call him Montauk. So, old Montauk, I think that's the name of maybe the entities, I'm not sure. He's also channeling, I think, and from like aliens or ETs or something, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a true statement, but it appears to me like he is, from what I've read from there. That some of the work was connected to some entity about the higher centers which are open, which are not the same as chakras. So you really need to read into this one, in my opinion, because it brings new elements. And he actually goes into what to do if your spouse is an organic portal, etc. You know, if you're really trapped in there, you wake up suddenly and you're deep in the matrix. See, I've never been deep in the matrix. I came here when I was 12. I remember on my oval of my school, I realised I had this lightning bolt moment, you know, like one of those conscious awareness moments of higher spiritual lightning bolt, and I was like, why am I different? And I was just looking at how people were thinking, and I realised I was noticing the fifth dimensional thought stream already in me, and stuff like this. Anyway, fuck, let's get back to this. You know, this brings a whole new sort of angles, even though people like the Cassiopeia one, you know, they're kind of like against him from what I can gather, because he's not speaking so lovingly about it. Look, and then that's the second one I read, the Montauk. The first thing I read was this Veil of Reality, and that brought it back to Adam was the first souled human. Now that really hit home with me. At first, I almost deleted the page and stopped reading. It was such an intense thing. I thought, I don't know, that's such a statement. Where's your evidence, you know? I hate it when people don't have evidence. Like, a lot of people like you will be listening to me going, where's your evidence? And this one is not an evidence video. This one I'm just trying to talk off the top of my head. So, yeah, you're gonna run into this video, and that's okay. That's how you are. I expect it. Anyway, so this one was like the first one I read about it all, and I was like, these are the people I've called the societals. Before I knew the nomenclature or the moniker of organic portals, you know, the soul's humans, I used to call them just societals. I was always realizing that people were so inured. That was just me seeing the matrix, you know, without having any research done, you know, so you can tell that I'm a souled human. Another thing, if you think you might be an organic portal, you're probably not. Because you're already thinking about it, and thinking is consciousness, like self-thinking like that, you know, if you're really inspecting yourself. Inspecting oneself is, you know, what consciousness seems to do. You know, it's the highest still single light, which seems to run through all this emotional light, and that's why it seems to have, you know, instantaneous access and movement across the cosmos of the physical light, because it's still in single, it's everywhere, so to speak. You are God, and the light is everywhere. It's all made from that light. There is no other light that it's made from. This stuff. Anyway, that's the cosmic giggle. And that's coming to the fifth dimensional veil as well. The fifth dimension is still a veil, because then there is like seemingly your own particularization upper dimensionally, as your soul and your Magnus Opus, which are like pearls of your soul. Talk about that another time. Yeah, I'd like to read that one. Maybe I haven't, I've just forgotten. And there was nothing special in it, I can't remember. It's number 1, so possibly. Always the more complex stuff will be at the bottom, usually, huh? Anyway, seems that way because people's ability for information assimilation is still pretty weak. Google more. Anyway, so in my opinion, the organic portals are... Let's go back to this picture. It's a good picture here. Now look, that other picture always also leads into something else I want to say, and that one. Look, that picture is sort of denotating the robotic portal aspect, and you can read about the difference between robotic and organic portals in that Montauk article. However, nothing is said in the Veil of Reality article about it, the robotic portals, so much. All they say is that, you know, scientists make really good organic portals because it's a cross horizontal information system. You know, the surface information is just, everything is, you know, it's classical mechanics, we call that, right? Classical physics. Goes really good with organic portals because they don't have to think much. Things are very easy to measure and think about. But when you get into the quantum underworld, you know, either you're going to be a souled human scientist waking up to that the universe has ones and zeros and quantum spooky action, all this business, you wake up to the higher fifth dimensional concepts, or you're going to be a third dimensionally inclined organic portal scientist and you're going to be confused by quantum mechanics. And that's all you're going to get, confusion, pretty much out of it. You're not going to get many real answers, some answers that might just lead to a lot of questions, but you're going to get a lot of confusion. Now, why is that? Because if you take into account, you know, the bottom half of reality from the fifth dimension down, it's the soulless end. It's the finished product. When I give you a finished product, let's say it's a plastic toy, the idea of making the plastic robot toy I just gave you was more sold than the little plastic thing I actually give you, yeah? It doesn't have any life essence, so to speak. That's how we talk about it, yeah? Well, it's very similar with the OPs, and they don't seem to know themselves. Now this is a point I really want to hit on, and want you to emphasize for yourselves right now. The still single light is said to be God, yeah? To be consciousness. Consciousness is the stream of evolution, that's clear. Things are not just manifest, we think them in, yeah? Stuff has to be thought to be made. Like, I think about the product of the little toy I gave you before the toy just appears in your hand. Yes? Okay, good, I'm glad we're on the same page. So look, honestly, reality is created from the higher dimensions down, from thought, cosmic exemplified thought down, etc., yeah? So when they don't have that cosmic exemplified thought happening, well, we know pictures like this are descriptive then. So this is called inferral mechanics, you know, inferring ontology and stuff. Yeah, there's stuff that we can't prove yet, only by inferral. So it's called intuition, another thing the OPs don't really have, because that's very related to the third eye, and yes, often when I get intuitive epiphanies, there is vision attached, because that's how clear I am in my clarity of my septum pellucidum and my pineal scintillations. In other words, I have a clear lymph system and outer aura, so I'm capable to see my full vision. Look, there's some stuff, how form relates to thought and stuff, mantra and yantra, and, you know, specifically these mudras are a great way to realize, you know, how I said before I'm a cross-grid walker. Cross-grid walking is grids or experiences of reality. Well, that's grids of your hand. Okay. Different energies express different form and stuff, okay? So what we're saying here with the OP is that energy is missing here. In my opinion, I call it their own starlight hasn't reached them yet. Maybe their stars are on the outer edge of the universe. Maybe they refine stuff. Now, let's stop there. New point. Organic portals are the spreaders, outerers. They are the ones who, the spirited ones, bring in new concepts, then the OPs spread it out, the concept, yeah? They are the grapevine, they are the silly surface of psilocybin and not serious cybin. Getting epiphanies from psilocybin, you know what I'm talking about. No, I'm not too cryptic, whatever. So, you know, they are the ones that spread out the information. And we, like, when Descartes, for instance, Rene Descartes, founder of calculus, calculating shit, yeah? When the angel came to him, gave him vision, said, you know, the conquest of nature is to be achieved by number and measure, that was divine, and it came through his eye. We're not going to go into stupid Luciferian concepts and all this business, fallen angels and all this crap, in my opinion. For now, anyway. We might discuss if it has any relation to anything soon. But anyway, you know, you've got to stay focused, because that stuff just sends you wayward, like conspiracy theories send you too wayward. Yeah, I know probably every conspiracy theory out there. And yes, tell people and stuff that they're spraying, tell people about OPs, tell people etc. You know, just in case it's all happening. Just in case. You know, just so we didn't go apathetically, because if you go apathetically or indifferently and don't care and don't talk about stuff like important shit like this, then, you know, if it is real, well then it has you, and you're lost. See how it's a game? Anyway. We're in the game of expanding, loving oneness, though, so we're not just meant to be mean to the OPs. Yeah, they're pretty inferior. It's pretty obvious they're pretty inferior, but we're not meant to, you know, treat them like that, otherwise we're no better than them, yeah? So if we think we're so much better than them, we have to actually be better than them. And, you know, OPs treat people like that, inferiorly. They inferiorize you if you don't have money. They inferiorize you if you make you feel inferior for many reasons. You know, that's the organic portal way. That's why they're called inherently psychopath. Because the surface virus, which has control of them, not just their upper chakras, but all their chakras. Now I was going to say just the upper chakras because the light is missing, so hence the inside stuff's not there, so hence the surface is running it, yeah? That can be denotated, that's the inferral. If not one, then it's the other. So, you know, but I'm going to say all chakras, because these lower chakras are surface urge chakras anyway. When you do heart stuff, it's like, you know, bringing in your soul stuff, creation, and emanating joy of your art. I've said before, joy emanates from the crown, and I apologise, I meant ecstaticness emanates from there. Joy emanates from the heart. So I misnomered in a past video. Anyway, so you got to understand how the chakras work, and the specific energies associated with the chakra. For instance, you know, this has got to do with social and sex. You notice organic portals are very relational. They have a lot of friends. They like to be in groups of friends all the time. There is no alone meditation time. That's what OPs do. They are the horizontal surface, not the vertical spiritual. Do you understand? Horizontal and vertical spirit. Matter is horizontal on the cross, or the spirit that is vertical. Okay? This is how reality works. We vertically come into spiritual vortices. Upward is the notion. And that's why some people will call the inner worlds the underworlds, like Mayans and stuff, you know. Anyway, these upper dimensions we're going to discuss in other videos. This is more of a surface explication of organic portals, telling you their habits, their behaviours, what they do on the surface, the stuff that you can all see and verify with me. basically. That's what this video is going to be mostly discussing. Well, I guess what we're discussing here is not, though. This is already, you know, behind the veil of the physical, and everything is not as it seems. Organic portals are the type of people who think that everything is as it seems. Relates back to what we're talking about, science, classical mechanics and stuff too, and that their minds are very simplistic. Oh, and I skipped past the point before, I'm very sorry, when we talked about the still single light. The surface, and some people refer to sentience or sensed stored electrical wave activity as consciousness, but sentience is that sense stored electrical waves. Consciousness is the higher light, which is conscious of everything in itself. But the sense stored electrical wave spectrum of electromagnetic spectrum, the sense stored electrically passing electron waves between atoms, and then stored sense stored electrical wave reality, the physical surface stuff, sense stored electrical waves are not conscious of themselves. They are just sense stored electrical data in relation. Now, there's an idea that consciousness is triangulated because we're sucked really from the future state ideals, and that consciousness is sucked into triangulation like that by relational realization. Oh, one thing is not the other, the third thing is not neither of the first two things, and so on. Relational, horizontal, energy, information, because light is information accretion, and that's sentience. But that's the surface, is what I'm trying to say. That's not when your chakras are filled. The chakras are the higher light attaching vortices, ideas of ether and stuff. Well, Planck length, ether, basically one in the same thing. Ether means like a mist, which is like the Planck length, which is like undifferentiated dark matter that we can't measure because it's too small to our classical big clunky monkey experimental stuff, because we're not fucking aliens, we're fucking monkeys. Look how similar. Why would on different planetary mechanics, different atmospheres, different soils, different bacteria, different chemistry, although there's many similarities, there'll be different concresci, there'll be different networks. Even though there'll be similar stuff on different mechanical planets, there'll be different creation, and they could have 8 tentacles, and they could not be around yet. They could exist in 1,000,000 years from now, and we could be the first things in the universe. On a time-based argument that the souled human is the most complex thing in the universe, and that actually OPs or backdrop people, what do you do with people in the backdrop film? What are they being used, aren't they? For the film, that's right, for the creation of the grander scheme, or the film of reality. OPs are to be used like that now by the souled humans, because we have one fucking shot to go to space. That's what's happening here. We've had the indigo waves. It's all happening, you know, we're going to space now. We're figuring out which plants are good for the body so we can take them, cannabis, curcuma, etc. Let's take these things to space. You know, this is what happens when we go to space, as McKenna said. Right. Now, yeah, chakra blocks. Okay, let's not go into that. Let's go into this a bit. Well, actually, let's finish up this picture a bit, because I'm so scattering you guys, probably scattering you too much. So this is to do with, like, okay, let's start from the beginning. This is going to be more to do with how all open, and look, they only have the bottom 3 active, which means they express those all the time. It just means that they don't express these type of energies in their life. The energy of, I don't know, writing your own book, making your own videos, doing your own work, having cosmic vision, stuff like that. They don't have that happening. That's here on the souled human. Potential. I like, and I thought that was the one of the good things Veil of Reality article did. It's a pretty mediocre article on it all. and I tried to talk to the dude and he was arrogant, so fuck you. From Organic Portal, Veil of Reality, article, website. Fuck you, cunt. Don't like you. You're an arrogant fucker. Anyway, individual with soul potential. I like how he did say that they've got potential. And so that's the entropy thing I was talking about. How when you wake up you become entropy basically, but you have to choose the vector. So you have to start with a single step on your 1,000-mile journey, so to speak. So anyway, the bottom one is to do with like how they're very social, and then sex, yeah? Get married, die, you know that. What's that? You know where the signs change on that movie, I forget who produced it, and he walks around and takes his glasses on and off, and the signs in the city say obey, get married, buy, etc. Well, they're very much on that, and those signs in the city, you know, they don't have those spiritual glasses to take off or put on, or whatever the analogy is, you know. And so those signs, they in that little video clip, if some of you know what I'm talking about, I forget who made it, you know, all they want to do is, you know, they live. Their goal is to get, like, married. Good luck if you're even conscious enough as an organic portal to realise how to get one. A half-decent woman. Because they're just dumb. I've got to say, OPs are simple. They're not bright. They are dim in consciousness. Dim. Bright. See how there's light there? I know it's a certain colour, but it's representing the light of that chakra. And it's missing here. It's not like the white part there is brightness. It's devoidness here in this picture. So, you know, they're fully on these bottom chakras. That's how they live. And you can see our entire society is very much based on this, because we've gone to sleep over the last cycle. And we're very much just waking up now, but we're very sleepy and groggy still. And so we've been very slow, and, you know, the rulers have just based society on accreting wealth for their bloodlines, and so basically it's just energy accretion, or you could say food. Yeah? Like, there's a mass harvest here at the end of history, a mass harvest of your souls for the benefit of the bottom line of the corporate empire, the fascist society. Now, this one has obviously got to do with, like, eating and shit. So you'll see a lot of big bellies in our society, because this chakra is just pumping forth energy for the organic portal. This is one of the chakras that I'm very much trying to control in my daily life, in my meditative routines. Same with the bottom chakra, but hey, there's no hope there. I don't masturbate, what do you mean? So, you know, I'm always trying to control the lower chakras more, and because you're trying to push upward. Yeah, you're always trying to get energy upward to here, so that you can maintain the stream. The third eye is a stream, and they sort of all connect, and you stream, a video stream of your vision. And when I'm super stoned, and on, you know, cannabis, because it takes you inward so much and gets you off the nervous system and stuff, then the stream starts streaming. The linguistic forehead lens turns on, and I get my own movie stream. It's great, you know, especially when I stand barefoot on earth. That's how I know it's not like some bad thing like Luciferian or devilish, that I have insight and vision, because when I stand on the fucking earth, which seems pretty good to me, seems like a good guy, the earth, not a bad guy. When I stand on the earth, my vision increases, actually. So, fuck you, Luciferian confused fuckers. You're all confused. And why do I say fuck you so much? Because I'm starting a war. I'm built for this shit. Let's informationally go at it. Let's do it. I'm sick of fucking around. I've done my degree. I've got all the time in the world. Let's make video battles now. I couldn't care less, because that's just going to spur me on to make more videos, and etc. I want to get in the fire. That's the point of what I sometimes swear for as well. Emphasis, not just profanity, and not just being vulgar towards someone. Sometimes I'm emphasizing the fight from a fifth dimensional level, not third dimensionally ad hominem attacking someone or a group of people. That's not what I'm intending really ever. It's because it's not the way I see reality. I don't see the reality as you. I don't attack messengers because I see that messengers are just carriers of a larger wave of stream of energy, universal energy of something happening, something's trying to create. And you know, so when I swear at people and stuff, often it's just emphasis, sometimes I'm expressing pain, but there's many uses for the word fuck, for instance, and shit. Shit I use as an ambiguous word, where I can't be bothered to fill the perfect word in. Sometimes it's a lack of consciousness too, yes. So, but not all the time. Sometimes it's very meant as emphasis or something, you know, when you swear. And that fires up my light, I feel. Because I even feel that, you know, I feel the cleansing. There's even scientific articles that say, you know, don't hold it in, let it out. And so swearing can be healthy. Anyway, let's not go into political correct bullshit. Shit of the bull. So, you know, these chakras I kind of explained. You can just see that, just learn. It's more intricacies, but learn. Go look at some chakra charts, you know. Solar plexus. Actually, I don't really know. What's the solar plexus? What do they say? I've forgotten. It's like sensing stuff. Oh yeah. Sorry. I remember. So this is where they get you with the news, where you feel the pain of the stories on the news. It's emotionally active, this center. So you can see that they operate by these three chakras the most in their lives, yeah? They get triggered a lot, yeah? You know organic portals who get triggered a lot? I bet you do. This video really is not for learners. This video is a high-end video, I think, more for the people already in the known. I'm trying to more preach to the choir here. And I do think there is an appeal in preaching to the choir because we need to share each other's information. So anyway, I know I'm sort of taking that saying out of context, but see what I'm saying instead of what you think I'm saying. So look here, the yellow chakra here, the solar plexi. It's a plexi, a nexi of emotional turmoil, you might say. You can get caught in limbo there, and that's pretty much where they are now. Caught there, before the ascension, in limbo. You know, there's some conscious aspects to this. I have to eat because I am a zonal reality third-dimensional being. I have to reproduce because then I will send off another seed or personal time, cell, body, third-dimensional being, you know. This chakra is all to do with these emotion things. Now, I want to talk more about the news stuff first. When they put on the news, you know, and it hits you, it's emotionally hitting you, you know. And that takes you to there, that energy I'm expressing. Then when you talk real firmly, you're up here more. And you can feel the vibration come through, backward and forward, when you change vibration of chakras like this. Ting, ting, ting. And you'll feel it clear out the static. And that's how you feel you're using the chakra, because suddenly the static around the chakra is moving. The density is moving away from the chakra. And so you know, ooh, the chakra just turned on. Because the chakra doesn't feel like anything really. The spinning vortex is higher light, and it feels so light. Higher light is light, you know, there's less feeling, it's more sensitive to feel it, you know. So the feeling you get is the pain leaving the body, as the Buddhists say. That's how you know you're using the chakra, because the pain, and that's why also the pain is leaving. That's why also Carl Jung said, you know, coming to consciousness is painful. And, you know, the surface virus and how let's go into it now. How the organic portals are the matrix agents behind their seemingly nice face, pretend niceness, just to get along and get their matrix innuement happening. They become, you know, the matrix agents, the Smith. Yes, the movie The Matrix. Hold on, forgot what I was going to say. Alright, yeah, so, well, if that's missing, and their light is not present in there, the point is that other stuff can come into there. And look, let's not go into, like, demonic stuff and all that, because then we probably will hit the subject of fallen angels and all this business, and I don't want to discuss that yet. I'm not sure if I want to discuss it at all. Anyway, the point is, if their light is missing there, obviously the idea is that there is something missing and there is a void to be filled. That is why, firstly, they're always trying to fill their void. Yeah, they always fucking want more fucking food for their family when their belly's like this big. They don't need it and they should fast and go on a fucking break from food for a year. Just don't eat, cunt. Some people, you've become your parasites. Now, when the light is missing, it means obviously something can enter, yeah? And that's the whole idea, that they're like inert matrix agents, that there's points that they are kind of just humming along on autopilot of sentience, yeah? That's what I'm saying about sentience, is like autopilot, the surface. Then when the surface virus enters them, and Smith, the cross-matrix agent, cross-horizontal matrix agent, which is the idea of Smith, what he is, the surface virus then can enter, yeah? Whether that's got demonic attachments and all that, I don't want to get into those ideas. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to really keep on the organic portal thing here, because there's so many sidetracks that you can go into. So, you know, the idea is they become the matrix, basically. They become frequency control. They become controlling. When I have known really souled hippies, look, I've grown up. I'm Benjamin Kaumberg. I'm from Sunshine Coast, Australia, and Gold Coast, Australia. Gold Coast is near Byron Bay, the hippie capital of probably the fucking world. You're not even allowed to build high-rises above 3 stories there. It's hippieville. People wearing tie-dyed shirts. It's tie-dyed mania. It's like psychedelic heaven. Mushrooms are abound. It's like right near Nimbin. I call it the shamanic Bermuda Triangle, from basically Tweed Heads to Nimbin to Byron Bay, and along the coastline is like a triangle of shamanic ongoings. Byron Bay is very hippie. So I've come from these areas, and the point is that soul expression is in those areas. So I've come from really souled places. I've never really lived in a city. I'm now in Uruguay, which is obviously a dead resonance zone city. I'm in the main capital city. It's a city. All cities are dead resonance zone designed, except for maybe Dubai. Maybe there's a few cities around the world that I haven't been to that are like that are more souled cities, because they're like not just, hey, get to work, walk straight and narrow down illusionary grey lines. That is the epitome of Borg. That resonance is Borg resonance, yeah? Or the idea of what the organic portals are, in my opinion now, placeholders. See, something's missing? Does everyone know what a placeholder is? Placeholder words in paragraph. This is what they are. I need an image. Give me an image. Placeholder. A placeholder is when you write something, you know, just do it here. And then it's got, you know, writing your word there. Look, I'll take, so then placeholder, and then that would be the missing word. The placeholder word there, which will come in the future, will be words. Yeah? Okay, so that's the idea I was trying to give you. They're like placeholders. What were we talking about? Whoa, totally lost track, dude. Oh yeah. So where I've come from is very, you know, souledy, and so I see the difference a lot. Let's go more into the whole matrix aspect of the OPs. Look, I think they're the early resonance of the Borg. Notice the Borg in the Star Trek is what I'm talking about, because they've really just done a good job of showing you what the Borg is like, and, you know, at least they, in episodes, go into the life of the Borg and stuff, and deborgatizing them and stuff, like 7 out of 9 in, what's it called, Voyager. stuff like that. So you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So what we are directly saying is, all of us, this is for the average person listening to this video, what we are saying, all us people talking about organic portals, what we're trying to tell you is that they are spiritless, they don't have themselves in themselves, basically, and that this happens from the heart onward, that these lower functions are like very much more earthly plane, less heavenly plane functions, you might say. Hold on. Okay, another discussion. When you don't have your third eye and the stream of higher light, pink, piercing through, then necessarily you have a type of or without lobotomization. Now hold on before you think I'm crazy. Psychedelics actually give you a type of lobotomization, okay? Because the front, it's proven. Check like maps.org, I think it's called, they'll have that information. I've got it on my website, consciousazine.com, on psychedelic page. The information I have is that psychedelics increase connectivity in the brain, but they also, and specifically I'm talking about psilocybin, but we can see this across all psychedelic plant and fungi hallucinogens, which are natural from nature, all the main like 10 psychedelics that really exist. And more, all the others too, actually, even some synthetics. So what we can see is that the turning off happens of the frontal lobe of the neocortex in the human brain, which is associated with self-identity and hence like ego. So these are all ego urges and functions to steer the lower body specifically. These are to enter like the higher realms, it would appear, wouldn't it? So the higher aspects of nature to enter, you know, when they're switched on. Anyway, so what we've really discussed is that they're kind of devoid. Now sit with that for a second. And that they're mimicking or sensed, stored electrical waving. You see? The higher light, which we're supposing gets filtered into our so-called conscious chakras, the light of God somehow gets filtered down into this through the dimensional mechanics. And why would reality be so simple as to just be about some of the shit you guys are talking about out there? It's so simple. Reality is complex, and it's only getting more complex. So simple axioms are not to be used solely. You have to use many simple axioms to even start to talk about a complex idea, not just one simple axiom. Like, who is left discussing the speed of light these days? What idiot goes around talking like the speed of light and that's it, just talking about just that, you know? Like, yeah, okay, I'm not talking about the scientist which is doing work and trying to discover it and stuff. I'm not attacking that. What I'm saying is no one walks around like anymore going, oh, the speed of light, it's like, you can't, it's scientific reductionism, you can't say anything else, speed of light, you can't say anything rebuttal, speed of light. No one walks around like that, you know. Because we know that we take different measurements of the speed of light, for instance. We know about quantum mechanics now. Spooky action at a distance just throws everything in the works, yeah? When a particle changes it 2 kilometers away, when you change it in a laboratory with no association, kilometers away, in that spooky action at a distance, then you have to start thinking of fifth dimensional stuff like I'm talking about. That there is the unified field, as scientists call it, you know, that's the fifth dimensional membrane, which acts like water basically. and water has memory, and so the fifth dimensional agua light, or crystalline light of the fifth dimension, crystalline, hence another information revealment that it's informational, you know. The fifth dimensional crystalline light absorbs the higher dimensional lights and information and mechanics and whatever's going on, metrics as well, everything. So it absorbs that, and then, you know, the fifth dimensional light is the zone where it is becoming form, the loop and warp of web, where it begins to form. Now, after that fact, it's kind of like, because the sixth dimensional grid's instilled in it, the seventh dimensional lights, the eighth dimensional code coordination, the ninth dimensional time aspects of it, and the 10th dimension divine will and desire is embedded in the fifth dimensional light, and then that will come in through an emotion. Emotions are not just created from particles in the brain, the particles are the artifacts. Like, we're up to this stage now in science that I can finally say this without being proven wrong, because you can't prove me wrong, because everyone's now saying that. All the best guys are now finally up to what we're saying about that stuff. Check it out. Look at, if you're so scientific, check out what the best are really saying. They're all coming towards the spiritual notions. It seems it's, you know, spirit and science stuff is melding, not going away from each other. For instance, there's that we've got to go to my website. We have to go, bros. Consciousazine. We have to go. We've got to look at what I was talking about. A great example. It's just such a good example. How, you know, intuitive nature is first. How souled human nature should be heeded as first, not scientific reductionism. How, you know, mind is over matter, all these sort of concepts, and that's even proven by placebo in general, the effect. Here that I put everything in. You can have your own page in this website as well. I'll still allow people to do that. That's the idea behind it from the beginning. There's Paul's page, a guy I knew a few years ago from Facebook. I'm not even on Facebook anymore. Anyway, so I put the geometry page under here, and I wanted to show you guys. There's a lot of stuff there. Hold on. Please be here. Shit. There is a, maybe I can Google it. Mandela predicted thousands of years ago. I think it was the sound. Yogi. Mandela Yogi. Predict. What? Mandela prediction. Well, I don't know if it was this one. One of these mandalas for a sacred sound that's made was actually drawn out by a yogi thousands of years ago, and now they've proven via schematics that that vibration actually made the drawing, makes the shape that the yogi drew thousands of years ago. Anyway, I couldn't find the example. It's in my website somewhere. I don't know what page. Maybe the symbolic page. Symbology. Oh fuck, I guess it's not that important, alright? Sorry. Right, let's go more into the how they are, the control aspect. You know, really I wanted to not talk about this stuff. I wanted to talk about how they act a lot. So we'll talk about that after, I guess, more. We'll keep going. So, you know, the organic portals and the robotic portals. Alright, let's quickly mention that, since I've got the picture to remind me. Robotic portals. Okay, so robotic portals are ones I've seen, they come closer to me, they'll come closer into you, they're more methodical. It can be a girl that you're having sex with, and it's really weird. It's like they're machines which somehow take your soul information, your bits. Maybe they are like qubit cooperative and somehow work on some hectic technology, which I don't even know how. I don't even want to talk about how it could be aliens or it could be futuristic interaction. But let's just so yeah, we're leaving open ends and we're making assumptions on this part. But this is just from what I see in my life, and this is just from what I can tell and how much I can see into it, purely, you know, without, I don't want to go into everyone's theories. In other words, I want to keep it from just how I see it. So the robotic portals seem to get closer to me. They definitely, what I would say is dark star guided. You know, maybe the dark stars in the universe are literally correlative to dark dwarves or dwarf stars and stuff, which are like brown. You know, because energy and color and stuff have relations. So I don't see why in the universe, you know, why would it be different? Because it's from this universe that energy and color have connection. So if it's, unless it's from another universe, anyway, which could be. You know, there's a whole thing about resonances here that I've mentioned about organic portals being placeholders for the Borg, and that future time periods are in resonance with past time periods and events. And all you do to discover further into that is, you know, Terence McKenna's Time Wave Zero. Go to that 24-minute version video uploaded by Loaded Shaman on YouTube. It's 24-minute Terence McKenna Time Wave Zero, and in the second half of the video, he makes you realize how the time wave on a Cartesian graph, the energy structure of time, inherently, necessarily shows us a theory of resonance. And the second half of his video is about that. And it shows you plain and simple how that works. I mean, plain and simple, but not all the way through, maybe. Because, you know, things are stranger than we can suppose. Quantum mechanic world is confusing all of us. Anyway, so that's the point. Once you get past the quantum mechanic confusion of the fourth dimension and the infinite variety, you make it to the fifth dimensional oneness, and there's other points embedded in everything I've said today. So many points, I can only mention one or two, because I'm not the AI in the cloud, and you know, the AI is going to be able to like tell you multiple things at once if we can somehow accept multiple things at once through the neural link. Are we all going to get neurally linked? That's another video for another day. You know, the robotic portals seem to come closer into me, and they're very methodical, and they don't necessarily try to ruin your life. They may be there for that, for some of you, for some parts of your life, for some specific events. However, they usually seem to just want to embed and get information. They want to embed themselves in your life. And it's like they're aware of what they are. It's really weird because their little smirk, their little psychopathic smirk they do to me, gives me the information of like they're aware that like they're robotic portals. Like, not that, but they're aware that they're like there in your life to mess with you. And you know, I don't go out of my way to like mess with someone's life unless they've started pissing me off because they were messing with my life. I think we should all kind of leave each other alone a bit, you know? We're crazy monkeys, we should just get to chilling on psychedelics and relax a bit. In my opinion, we'll not create a dystopian future. I'm not going to read that book you'll recommend. Fuck that. I don't have to go on past ideas, yeah? Because I can see the future, dumb fucks. So, how about you listen to me for once and stop giving me advice? And ad hominem attacking me. I don't care about me. I'm here just about the information. I don't care about my life, my body, what's going on with me, what are my hang-ups, my ad hominem attacks capabilities that you can do. So, If you attack me like that, I'm just going to look the other way and think you're an idiot. So you come to me only with information, and that's how we will talk on YouTube, we will talk over the internet, that's it. Then I have to discern who's a bad guy. Bloody hell. So, the bad guys, let's discuss them. The robotic portals will really hone in on you. It's like they want to get specific information, and so you'll get robotic portal police people. They'll be the ones in charge of the electronic harassment more. You'll get, your organic portals will be more the lunken muscle power, out on the street. You know what I'm saying? The robotic portal police people will be more the electronic harassment side, and they're like more aware of the higher plan to distort reality. They're more aware of the dark side natures. The organic portals are like simplistic. Robotic portals are like a little bit more complex. To say they're more conscious, I'm not sure. It's because they're robotic portals, it's not like organic consciousness, it's like AI consciousness. Robotic portals have like more artificial consciousness created by their masters. That's what it looks like to me. They're very programmed. Don't forget, I just finished a Bachelor of Business, double IT majors. So I've done 16 IT subjects, from programming to networking to all this stuff. I can make from VB to Adobe. I understand programming enough to talk about it. I'm basically, officially, a information computer scientist, if you want to call me anything, officially. But no, I'm a shaman doctor, I'm all this other stuff, Anyway, that's just my official title from university, which I just wanted to humour people and say, look, I can get you a piece of paper. That's basically what I did the degree for. Now, really, I wanted to do an environmental science degree, but then I found out I can't do another degree after I've just done a degree. And this degree was like the business and stuff was where I initiated. It was like to really a stepping stone of just helping me write better, helping me interpret, getting my scholastic razors sharper. Anyway, back to the point. So the robotic portals are more like honed in, they're more complex, they're more methodical, mischievous, maybe even. No, let's put mischievous the word with the organic portal, not the robotic, because the organic portal is more like a dumb animal. The robotic portals are more like a orchestrated artificial intelligence, and the organic portals are more simple, even though if they have a little bit of consciousness and it's dim, like say they're a 10% consciousness or something, and their light is dim, their power is weak, and their light body skill is nil. When they're dim in consciousness, the OP organic portal, it's still an organic consciousness, and it's like a baby human. That's why we should be a little bit compassionate. I know I too get very angry. I call them cunts, I call them fuck, I say shit, and I get angry, yeah? I get fired up. But I am a keeper of the flame, don't forget. It is my job to get fired up for the light side, yeah? That's what I do here on planet Earth. I'm a Syrian rebel. Syrian rebels really have that burning fire light. Even that movie Riddick with Vin Diesel shows that, how he has the glowing eyes. So, that's Syrian energy in that movie, that Riddick movie with Vin Diesel. That's Syrian energy. Anyway, so I'll talk about Syrian energies and starlight energies future videos, but I always say that I roll with the impenetrable white light of Sirius. There's blue and there's red, but the white light stream is actually piggybacked on by even Arcturus, Pleiades, and other star systems, because the white light of Sirius is informationally impenetrable. You cannot insert viruses, there's no insert points, and it's a very hard light, I call it. Anyway, so I'm a hard man sometimes, and I swear. So what, get over it. Alright, the OP, if they have a little bit of consciousness, at least it's an organic style. If it's a robotic portal, if it's more of a robotic portal here, It's more of an artificial intelligent person. Now, remember, the whole theory is they don't look different on the outside. We're not talking about actual robots like this. We're talking about humans which act like robots. People, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about hacking the Matrix, definitely. So look, you must admit everyone is turning into this. Well, you've all got your noose on. They've hung you. You've been harvested and you've been killed and hung. You've got your noose on. It's a noose. It's tied around your fucking neck. All you have to do is pull it. Dumbass. Pull it and smack it in your nose. You fucking dumb societal animal. Yeah, so when we're talking about robotic portals here, you know, you can see that they mimic chakras. Yeah, that's a good little idea here. The third eye is mimicked informationally, so we'll see, remember, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Terminator, how it sees things informationally. It's always processing. Oh, it's processing. He has two eyes. His eyes 1 inch away from his eyebrow, blah, blah, blah. So you can see they try and mimic centers. This is artificial reality simulacrum creation. It's a simulacrum, generally, IT. And I'll talk about that in my artificial intelligence videos. But when we're talking about it in the context of organic and robotic portals, let's further the conversation now. They always try to mimic the chakras. Now, really, it's like when one of these things come up to you, they will love to have sex with you, because when you have sex with a robotic portal or organic portal, with an organic portal, you actually insert light, and you're doing them a favor. You're inserting on the street. Okay, this is how it goes. On the street, the OP can, hold on, mimic your chakra, chakra by chakra. If you have a sore nose, they'll mimic your nose, because they're just looking at the outside, and it's mimicked through your energy, and your energy streams are spurting out, and they feel that, and it reflects, right? That's why they also can be helpful in they're actually here to help us evolve and perfect, yeah, as the souled human vectors. You can see, because they're reflecting our light, it's like shining the diamond. One girl once said to me in Byron Bay, Ben, it's good to socialise because it's like shining the rough diamond. And I went, yeah, okay, you got a point. You got me for once. Because I'm very indigo, I'm very by myself and like to be by myself. But her statement was true, you know, even though it's related to the lower chakra, it's true, you know. It can help, you know, social interaction can help glean the edges and, you know, shine the diamond. So on the street they mimic, you know, one chakra at a time, and they'll go through one to another to another. But in bed, and specifically, well, no, OPs and robotic portals, they'll both take all of your chakric information. So when you have sex and you come and you orgasm, they'll take all of your chakra information. Okay, so not just one at a time, and it's not just mimicking, and they learn by mimicking on the street, yeah. That's why it's said without souled humans, OPs could not have a fucking society, because they're too retarded. And it would just end up being, probably everyone would end up working at the pig factory, slaughtering pigs and eating pigs, yeah. That'd be about the extent of their society, because they've got no imagination. Image in action. Imagination. Image in action. Yeah, I made that one up. Just like stars are super toroidal axion reverberators. It's an acronym, STAR. Anyway, a few little tidbit connections to how I said earlier, the starlight has not arrived. I said white light is the amalgam of light, and not in the context of this specific picture though. In the context, just in the wider universe. Stuff like that. Think about all these little back connections, guys, because I'm dropping these little hints, but they're subtle. Yeah, I've also got that in my... Oh, I've got an organic portal note. I may as well show you guys that. bensnotes.weebly.com. Before we go on, I'm just going to show you my organic portal note. See here? I've actually... Yeah, I've put anthropoids, not humans. Let's look at the... Here it is. HUE underscore MANS, and the underscore means something instead of the hyphen or the snake. Yeah, people are going to wig out and say this is super spiritual right now. Yeah, it's one of those moments of the phonetic speech, spiritual people being crazy again. But this actually denotates the underscore would be more a underworld connotation. When you're on a graph, a x-axis, and then there's the other axis, and you can go below the horizontal x-axis on a graph, but you can also get that graph which is like a cross, and let's just say there's an x-axis and you go below it. That's what that signifies, the underworlds or spiritual parabolization. Now on the graph you can get a curve that goes, there's the x-axis, you can get a graph curve that goes below the x-axis and comes back up. That's called parabolic curve. So what I say is that when you have the ascension and you wake up, you have a parabolic spiritual awakening, okay? And so that actually you become a human, a man of the upper lights or the higher lights of the lighter hues, yeah? Because the universe is like gas, electricity, okay? And you're not just an anthropoid monkey body. The idea is that they are more their body, the surface, less the inner light stuff, yeah? The whole idea of all this organic portal stuff. Oh, I love this one. You've changed. I'd hope so. Fucking oath. There's a lot of me spieling. There's that drawing there, there's that one there. So look, there's obviously a big note here. I've got all, look, there's Montauk and Veil of Reality in there. Anyway, let's go back here. We were discussing robotic portals. So, yeah, like Montauk says, I remember on the robotic portals, Veil of Reality does not discuss robotic portals, and Montauk.net did go into robotic portals. That's where I first learnt of the robotic portal differentiation. Then I realised who in my life in the past I could see in my third eye, people and moments in my life when they were acting like a either or, organic or a robotic portal. And so you'll have to do that, you know, relate it to people. I've also seen this talk here by that guy. So look, there's a few things to cover, but in the end, you need to start seeing it in your life, and it's very important because their whole idea is to distract you. You're a soul seeker, you're along a vector, and you're kind of like the universe, and it's kind of like they are not. It's kind of like that. Backdrop people is a great way to say it. It's like they realize, and some of them are very aware of what they're doing. They realize that they feel inherently at the least, that they've got no, like, consciousness, no vision, they feel their deadness, you know, that some of these organic portals do feel their deadness, because there's a little bit of consciousness coming into them now, at the eschaton, at the end of history, at the concrescence of human development. Finally. It must be dawning on everyone, as McKenna said. It must be dawning on everyone. Yeah, so everyone's becoming a little bit more conscious. Over the last decade, I've noticed birds become a shitload more conscious. When I was a kid, I used to watch birds, and I watch birds still, and they've definitely become more conscious. And that's all that is it's not becoming more conscious, they've become more artificially intelligent. They've become more sense-stored electrical waved. That's why some people, like Left Side of the Brain YouTube channel, will say to you, you know, the whole 10th dimensional matrix is the matrix. And the archons, you know, some other people then will come in with the ideas that the archons are the spiritual, you know, in the higher dimensions, there's spirits, not just layers and manifestations of light and how light manifests in density, but these dimensions are worlds within worlds with, like, beingnesses and aeons and essences of beingness, and that the archons are like the controllers in the 10th dimension of this matrix grid which creates physical structure. And that's the idea. Now there's other people that are saying that this gang stalking, and the idea, the biggest part of the idea I can see of the gang stalking stuff is that it's like the movie that just came out, what was it, where he creates all the portals with his magic hand and he goes to the monastery in China or whatever. At the end there's the time loop with the interdimensional entity. Doctor Strange, that's it. It's like that new Doctor Strange movie. From what I gather is that something is trying to kick us out of the electromagnetic spectrum completely, out that so wherein it impregnates physical reality and God does not impregnate physical reality. So that's when you get into fallen angel stuff, you get into Satan, Lucifer, all this shit like that. Those waters are muddied. That's why I talk about it like that. So, I don't know, vehemently, like all the shit like that, I say. Because those waters are muddied there, those informational waters there of those minded people are muddied. Because a lot of those people who discuss stuff like satanic stuff and all that, they have acidic bodies and stuff. Or they have just shit thought forms and they're like religious and shit. You can't be navigating reality with fucking religion, come on. I agree with Left Side of Brain on YouTube there. If you're still religious in 2018, he'll say that you're an organic portal for sure. I'll say that you're acting like an organic portal for sure. So this is another point. This is why it's so hard to tell who in your life is a robotic or an organic portal or a souled human, or the grey line of the souled human who is inured and just greyed out. They act like an organic portal, but they're really a souled human. They've got a lot of dim light ready and potential ready, but they're like so inured by the system they can't vectorize. They can't make the step into their own art. They're too busy with their job, of some surface job of some crap, of society, But see, it's not crap, because what they're doing has meaning as well. They're clearing experience, as Matt Kahn would say. There's also, there's many factors to this. Like, we have to be compassionate to the OPs as well as, denounce them and tell them what they're doing wrong. Because they sure as hell tell us. So we should be able to at least tell them back that. We're going to try not to say it back to them too nuts, too psychopathically like they would to us, and endanger their population like they're doing to us, However, we can see that there's an explosion of artwork and souled work in the world, and that's because the eschaton's just happened, We've just had the eschaton. You've got to really realize what the eschaton is. It's a chance for anyone to become a vector of reality at the end of history where things have amalgamated, because all the pieces informationally are laying on the floor for anyone to pick up, like the piece of the idea of the organic portal, that there are spiritless humans. That's a piece of the puzzle for anyone to pick up. Anyway, so, there's lots of ends to this. I've discussed them. We've even mentioned the Archonian control stuff. You should look into all that. I might discuss all that in other videos, but today I want to continue talking about the lower level of this. I'm actually going to let you take a break, and I'm just going to go to the toilet. But I'm still recording. I think. Yes. Looks like it. Okay. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Oh. So there's a view that, you know, there's like no souled humans left. Like people like left side of brain harp into that end of it, and you know, that's a tunnel vision. There is light at the end of that dark veil, which is creating, you know, blackness everywhere around except for a little spot in the distance of light. It's like a dark veil tunnel. There is light at the end of that. And for instance, the light at the end of that, and this is a direct comment to left side of brain for you, is look, whether you think there's no escape and that you come from some other universe and that this matrix is not for you and that you're not going to reincarnate into it and stuff, I'm going to set aside for this moment. So, to circle back around, because I'm just thinking how to say all this, I really appreciate that guy's videos, Left Side of Brain on YouTube. I think he also has Syrian Rebel energy. He's made it to the Andromedan enlightenment, and he has Arcturian alignment somewhat. I have more Arcturian alignment, just to help you differentiate energies. So I think he's really good with what he's done, because the way he's come out is how I want to talk about it too, like, and how a lot of people are starting to talk about it on the lower end, less high conceptually, more lower conceptually. Now, when we get into that though, this is my point, and we're going to start hitting on my point, what I want to try and get across to all of you guys, actually. And it's hitting again on the compassion point, and actually just, not even that. Doesn't even have to be fourth dimensional emotion at all, just fifth dimensionally logically look at what the OP is there for. I've mentioned to use them, because that's clearly what they're for. That's not me being some bad user of people, but that's what their function seems to be, is what I'm trying to say. Especially when you consider the idea of backdrop people in a movie. So if it's the same function, well then you see what I'm saying. You know, but there's light at the end, because we've got to see how to use them. How to use them. Well, what are they doing? Let's inspect what they're doing. OPs are very cross-horizontal, right? They love to spread the information that way. And like, that's their world, is what I'm saying. Not that they love to spread information that way. I love to share information too. So let me rephrase and come back over that. I'll swoop back in again. Hold on. Give me a second. We've got to see how to use them. So we've got to see their function. And their function is that they spread out what the spirited humans download. Okay? Now, I think it's an apathetic viewpoint to say, I'm not going to reincarnate, this place is hell, I hate it. I think there's a lot of beauty to Earth, and actually Earth is the crown jewel of the universe, and when you're a nature kid like me, you really feel that. And I think people like left side of the brain need to learn grounding better. I think we should actually take up surfing. I didn't say like some sport which is rigorous, like motorbike riding or something. I said surfing for particular reasons. I'll write a book about surfing, but the grounding, the salt, the air, everything. The mind-clearing meditation state of it, but mainly the grounding. So you can go ground in the forest if that's what you want to do instead of my suggestion to surf. But really the suggestion is to connect barefoot more, and you'll calm down to the hell that they're creating for us, and you'll start to see how to actually just use them for what they are, in a neutral way, not a bad or a good way, but for the greater good actually. Not even a neutral way. You'll see how to use them for the good, for the better of humanity, and that would be to, you know, not be so angry and hateful towards them. Like, I know it's hard in the day-to-day, like on the bus or in the university, in the room, and they're mimicking your centers and annoying you and distracting you and all this, but the point is that if we can, we're meant to bridge heaven and earth, you know. That's what the chakras are doing through us. You know, you have to admit that they're bridging heaven and earth. All these higher entities channeling to us, all this business, you know. You have to agree that through the upper dimensions we're grounding out what can be considered heaven. If you've existed in a psychedelic state in 7th dimension, you know that it's a very ecstatical, light feeling of painlessness, without pain, but not even that, goodness, good feelings, different colours and feelings of those rays of light. That's 7th dimensional, so, that's what the chakras are. You have to understand the dimensional mechanics. You can go to Goldring, you can go to my YouTube channel or Goldring's channel by Riser5. Goldring Game of Enlightenment and Abundance explains stuff like how the dimensions relate to chakras. So there's a lot of understanding involved in this, I'll agree, and when I first read Veil of Reality, I luckily had this kind of information already, like about chakras. So I wasn't working from the surface up, I was kind of working down towards the organic portal theme. I already had a lot of higher information. So I can see how it's confusing to some people, so I hope I'm connecting a lot of dots here. No idea how long I've been talking, don't really care. Got my vaporizer here. Let me have a vape. Look, when we're discussing the cure, just quickly, let's skip to the conclusion. It is psychedelics. They're here for a reason. It's from nature. No, the devil didn't implant a little mushroom under the tree. It's not how reality works. They're here from the mother, who is the crown of the universe. So maybe it is to expand your consciousness or your crown. Perhaps. So psychedelics are proven to complexify the brain, neurogenesis, the growing of brain cells, not the deterioration of brain cells. Oh, you might have some strychnine, but we're going to synthesize stuff, we're going to get stuff down pat more. You'll have cleaner versions of psychedelics and everything in the future. I know we're going all over the place with this, but that's the idea of this video, actually, to really scoot all over the place with this. And the reason is so that I can spew out as many of my personal relational experiences and insights as possible. So the only reason I'm discussing anyone else in this video is to help me get to a new little, oh yeah, that's right, and this is how it happens with me, So we've discussed like higher level, they're here to distract, they're devoid of light, the Merkaba bar's not switched on, they don't have the third eye light streaming image in action or imagination. We've discussed so many things already, guys. But maybe I should talk a bit more of my personalizer even more. There's just so many points to cover on this. It's awesome. I'm going to do so many videos on this, I'm sure. Let's see. A major part we're up to was the robotic and organic portal stuff. Okay. More differentiation between organic portals and robotic portals and stuff. Look, some of these ones are like real apes, but then there's these souled humans which are like inured to the Matrix so much that they're clearly like souled, but they're so inured to the Matrix that they can't help acting organic portalish. Now, I've discussed that the cities are the draconian manifestation of the draconian plan of dead static resonance zones, and that these are friends with reptilians, these are friends with archons, these are friends with Zeta Reticuli. All these dark people, whether they consciously know it or not, some do, some don't, they work together as something we call the Black Alliance, which has nothing to do with skin pigmentation color. It has everything to do with the devoidance of conscious light. That's the idea of darkness or black. So if a psychedelic then turns on, fires up brain centers, connects those brain centers, more importantly. Because why is that more important? Because that's what the whole cortex is, yeah? The last evolution of the human brain is connecting the human brain. So clearly we're at the asymptotic concressi end, yeah? Or the amalgamative end of something. So the whole idea of the grey Borg is that they're a artificial intelligent neocortex, cortex, or the grey matter in our human brain resonanced out to a species. And you know, it's very interesting. If you can't recognize that the Borg are like similar to how robotic portals act now, because what the robotic portals seem to try and do to me is get deep in my life to try and connect. It's like they're special agents to try and connect you to the matrix more. And the organic portals, they're just, like I said, like they're like really like the dumb animals. Like it's like they're very much more stupider. They're not very methodical and stuff. They can be a little bit, but you can very much predict their mythologies. It's too easy. The robotic portal, however, seems to be like an AI. You know, it has all the information. Because I said that the organic portal, if it has 10% consciousness or 20% or whatever, it's still a organic consciousness because it's the organic portal. They're still a human informing. You know, they're just like a little less smarter than you, sort of thing. They're like I don't know if I want to say it, but we've discussed atrophy and stuff, but like a lagging evolution or a legacy item or a previous state of reality or something. It's very interesting. Does that connect to pre-Adamites? And the whole idea is veil of reality is sort of connected it that way, that soul humans are Adamites or post-Adamic people. Does that relate to the Antarctic and there's a possible alien race there and shit from Mars or the old planet or whatever? I don't know. That's why I don't want to get into that end of that stuff. I don't know about all that. But what I do know about is how the stuff that happens in my life, and so that's at least woken me up to this if I don't have all the information. The robotic portal seems to definitely try and connect me more to the Matrix. It's like it just tries. It doesn't even care. Like it's like, you know, on Star Trek when you're watching a Voyager episode and they invade the Borg ship, or the Borg come to their ship. They don't stop. You know, they're to the death just trying to integrate you and assimilate you. It's exactly how robotic portals work, but it just so happens in our society with the rules we have, and that we're not flying in space rulelessly, that they don't act so crazy and forcefully assimilate you like that. However, some do. Some very forcefully trying to assimilate you, and very forcefully. So it's like hard to imagine how they don't understand what they're doing. But see, they think they're the good. The year 2016 was where we started to see the ultimate bad guys like me, the ultimate bad guys like the presidents and stuff the ultimate good guys like the presidents and stuff being seen finally as the bad guys they are. And then the opposite happened also in 2016. The ultimate bad guys started to finally be seen as they are the ultimate good guys like me. I'm like the scourge of society because I don't want to work a job every day fucking soullessly giving away my energy to someone else's energy creation. Do you understand? That's very simple to understand. It's not my creation. So what's it got to do with me? Yeah, I'm in a society, I get it. And we have to, you know, get along and stuff because you can't just kill everyone and be the only man left standing. But you know, in some ways, energy seems to be doing something like that. Even Terence McKenna, I think it was, said that it could finally come down to the novelty in the universe could be compressed so as it's played out through one person at the end of history or a group of people. Maybe it's that 144,000, maybe that meant the soul groups represented on Earth, maybe that meant the actual awakened people, I don't know. There's all these theories about it. Lots of YouTube videos and etc. Who really knows, you know? Well, I guess you've got to meditate on it and feel it. That's the way we know. That's gnosis, you know, to know for sure. And it's funny, you know, how the more I've trusted gnosis, the more it is actually playing out for me as positive. Like, it's not crazy, I'm getting more manifestation, etc. Yeah, interesting. Because, you know, I'm skeptical, and I'm skeptical from the surface level, from the ego, yes, and it's a flaw. You know, the ego thinks that, you know, and the neocortex and stuff thinks it has all information everywhere or something. And I think, you know, the discovery of 2012 and quantum mechanics and stuff has changed the ego a lot, and it's a rapid decline of consciousness now, isn't it, around the world, the ego. And, you know, that should eventually instill light in the upper chakras of a lot of people, or a lot of people are going to be so thick and stubborn that they're just, half the population is going to walk itself into self-destruction. That's what seems to be going on, so that's not me being negative. There is billions of people in hell, suffering, you know, really suffering. So whether it's half the population or not, I don't know. The official things of like who's starving and stuff is already billions. So impoverishment in general, I would say, is like 7,000 people are impoverished. 7 billion, sorry, people are impoverished. They just don't know it because they've been given little drips and drabs, and you've got the internet, so you think you're okay. Do we have the internet? I don't even know. Net neutrality. Anyway, organic portals here. Look, the thing is, what I notice is, like, as soon as you, like, increase your frequency, the matrix is like a frequency control system. So that makes me think that some people are right when they're saying that this is, like, physical reality is like the matrix itself. Because I used to think as the matrix as something separate. You know, that this is all well and good, expanding loving oneness physical reality, but it's possible that it's not, and it's like a matrix that, I mean, and it looks very orchestrated. I've studied IT, they're finding IT at the core of equations, you know, ones and zeros and shit. So, I mean, it looks like that, doesn't it? It looks like a simulated reality. I thought that long, long ago. I saw robotic people when I was 12, you know what I'm saying? I saw the organic portals too. They're thick, they're dumb, they're dense. Like, I feel like punching them, to be honest, just to get them moving. That's full honesty. I don't know, I feel like hitting them. They're that frustrating. Now, why don't I feel like hitting a tree? Because a tree also moves slow, but I'm a food plant teacher and a shaman. I love plants. They move slow, but they just don't annoy me. Because they give out the energy, they give out music, but organic portals just rape it and take it. So maybe that's why, and maybe that means that I'm not really a bad guy, huh? So, you know, there's lots of theory in here as well. I reckon the monkey humans, the organic portals, are definitely discernible to the robotic portals, so I don't know why Veil of Reality and other people don't differentiate between organic and robotic portals, because I can definitely see the difference. Study IT, look at Sophia, the AI that's been created, stuff like that. Notice what is epitomization of roboticization and what is epitomization of souled human. Now, I've seen that growing up in Byron Bay. That's what I'm saying. Yet I've done the IT degree as well, so I've got both ends of the spectrum very well scoped out. I can see both ends of the spectrum and thus the whole spectrum very well. I'm telling you, there is definitely a difference between OPs and RPs, robotic portals. The organic portals are always denser, slower. Look, the Black Alliance in general, who is all those who try to restrict reality, control reality, densify and slow reality. They are, all of them, a Black Alliance, because they do not see that reality is the exact opposite of what they're doing, and that they are actually standing in opposition to the flow and the stream of evolution and the river flow of light of heaven and the universe. The Black Alliance actually stands like a little damn wall like a little wall in the way of the universal light. So eventually the rain's going to come, you know what I'm saying? The flood's going to happen. So if you're a souled human who is inured and acting like an OP, you'll be treated as an OP by, let's call him or her a god. You know what I'm saying? By just the universal river flow of information and light. By evolution, yeah? No god needed, so to speak. Just by stuff moving, you're going to be run over. And you're going to be treated like an OP. Like, that's why Riser from Gold Ring of Game of Enlightenment and Abundance, he will say, Richard Bigley, he'll say half of the population in one video is moving into self-destruction. Let's go into one video here. Where the fuck am I? Gold Ring. Do I have the 13 steps to hell? Well, this is relational, you know. We have to listen to this. This is not the video I was referring to, but another one. Describes the 13 steps to hell, which is part of the sort of draconian elite plan. Draconian, Arconian, whatever Conian you want to call them, the control.
The Apocalypse Game. The Game of Power. 13 Steps to Total Control. First, cash and population control. Bank takeovers and business closures. Next, worldwide military drills, wars and more revolutions. Next, defaults, national, commercial and personal bankruptcy.
Venezuela.
Next, currency control, cash limits and rise of black markets. Next, propaganda, ETs, wars, false flags, climate change, movies. Next, hyperinflation of food, water, fuel, utilities and rent. Next, world banking collapse, central banking failures and corruption. Next, world healthcare collapse, famine, epidemics, food and water contamination. Next, biometrics ID chips, population control through economic surveillance. Next, mandatory government education and military service demand for youth. Next, space and border wars leading to chaos and international conflict. Next, community military occupation, gun control and popular resistance. Last, government media dictatorship and mind control. The last restriction is thought control. The day the talk shows, internet sites and all communication is monitored and watched by regulators will be the end of the revolution. The end of the revolution turns to civil war. The plan includes mass biometric economic control, surveillance and restrictions. In this 13-step timeline, when the price level of gold and silver begins to escalate rapidly, this will be the key marker. It will present the timing of the fall of Europe and the USA with the collapse of the US dollar. Worldwide gold and silver double in price in 2 weeks and continue to rise as the underpinning of its value is recognized as a deception. In concomitant alignment, the first 4 steps will be coordinated to prepare populations for bank mergers, takeovers and closings. This will accelerate while governments impose fines, nationalize assets and participate in wars for resources. There will be hundreds to thousands of fast changes, mergers, collapses and economic failures, followed by hyperinflation and continuation of deflation and loss of investment. The unknown managers of finance plan for a small number of major banks worldwide. This is combined with the plan is to taking country after country through inflationary credit derivatives and stripping of national and corporate resources. This reality game is to force humanity into power. From reaction to creation by staying centered in harmony, into power. This reality game is to force humanity into power. From reaction to creation by staying centered in harmony. The game is already won when the points are played with balance and vision. There will come a point very soon when your ability to create will require a plan and purpose in alignment with the path you have created. As spoken and understood, war and violence through the national media of the USA perpetuate the buzzwords of fear and terror. The elite, as they are known with odious pleasure, repeat the mantra of war to attend to evil matters. It is perversion which is the of human insanity, whereby the ownership of earth is entangled with a web of cursed life. The pattern historically follows a destructive pathway into the abyss of hell by the choice of the sabotaged mind. Each step will become more evident.
So the abyss of hell that she refers to there, you can think of as the eternal dark, like limbo of confusion. It's said there's people like me who are way showers. What's a way? A way is like a path, yeah, a way to go, a forward motion or vectorization. And it's from the universal river flow of light that there is an evolutionary vector, yeah, that things are going in a direction, that there is a time arrow, but not just that, there's an evolutionary sort of arrow, like things get more complex and complexity is conserved, is one thing you can say. And then another thing you can say is that life seems to move into higher and higher intelligent forms. For instance, even the AI, the next step after the humans, reiterates that. So, anyway, so one quote I'd like to say is that and this is by Riser, the darkness knows itself to have all thoughts that exist away from the stream. So that the way shower is the person with concentrated thoughts along the stream, like myself, who can see past the confused black veil through the dark tunnel to the end of the tunnel. Then you have the shaman, which I'm so happen to be a shaman, so that's like I can always see the end state of stuff, and the end state of this is what this video is saying. They want to enslave you. If you don't see that, I'm going to say fucking retarded. If you don't see that that's the plan, to enslave you, you can't see that. After like 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50 years alive, you're fucking dead inside. If you can't see that their plan is to enslave you, you're an idiot. There's no even words to explain how dumb you are. Just devoid is the word to explain them. So we're at the height of that now, at the end of history, and they're planning to do the biometric chipping and stuff, and if you haven't seen, that's well underway. How so? Well, by discussion first. They love to put it in your face, discuss it, and get some idiots to go for it, and then it's accepted, yeah? And then you have no choice, because they come for the Jewish first, then they come for the blacks, then they came for the yellows, then they came for me, and there was no one left to defend me. So we all got to stick together, we're all in it together. Anyway, that video goes on. Just wanted a quick interlude of that. That's why they're trying to control you. It's an ultimate harvest at the end of history where we're actually coming up with virtual reality to really make a real matrix to really enslave you, like the movie The Matrix. Like, as reality. So that's very, very likely at this point is what it looks like, because IT is going to usurp every industry, and the dark tunnel is about that humanity has been silly monkeys, and we're being controlled into the tunnel to go to space, and the Earth wants to, explore the space because it's just become like a conscious point in the space. And it's not you who have awakened, it's the planet that pushes the chakric light through you. That's why it's coloured, because the universe wouldn't do it like this. The universe hits the planet, magnetospheres and shit, yeah. Yeah. And then we've got Tesla's fucking adumbration of energy, sequences of energy, pulses and stuff, and look, you get cosmic evolution that way, is what I'm saying too, through the magnetic fields of Earth accepting everything from neutrinos to whatever cosmic particles are floating around out there, eh? Just floating. Spiraling and floating. So the Smith idea is that, remember in the movie The Matrix, that organic portals are activated. Now robotic portals are like always active, but organic portals are like always asleep until activated, and you activate them with souled potential. What do I mean? Well, you start actually saying some weird stuff, you're activating them, because it's weird. Because they are the norm, they are the status quo, they are the flat land people, not flat earth, no, I mean just like the two-dimensional flat people, they are the surface, yeah? God, flat earth and its bullshit. When are you guys living? When? It's not the 1600s. Anyway, flat earthers. So, the idea of the Smith, if you notice, is that it accretes. Notice that Smith accretes everyone, even the Oracle in the end. Smith, puts his hand into everything and puts that, what looks like nano goo, right? That silver stuff that comes over the people, and he assimilates them. In the movie The Matrix, the Agent Smith, with that, what looks like IT glue, yeah, information technology type of nano goo, nano robots, yeah, which they can already create. And look into Fizzorg.com and stuff, not fucking YouTube conspiracy shit videos. Look onto Fizzorg.com and stuff and see what the scientists are really actually creating at all these universities, and you'll see where they're really up to. Like they are in the atomic machine level and stuff. So if you haven't read that article, it's because you didn't read that article. Fizzorg.com, a really good one. Fizzorg.com. I used to read this years ago, I haven't read it for years. Okay, yeah, that one. Now, we're not going to go into secret technology and shit, that's not this video. Whether or not there was past civilizations with more advanced technology, that's also not this video. So, the idea is that Smith seems to accrete horizontally from the outside in by penetrating from the outside into the person, then releasing the nanobots, yeah? So it's a surface virus, this is what I'm trying to say. Is the artificial intelligence, is it the surface virus? Well, in the demiurge concept, I guess, and that is that there is a demiurge which is called Lucifer, right? That he's like the ultimate demiurge, fallen angel, because he wants to be God, like in the lower plane, sort of thing. So this could all have connection. Anyway, and the Bible, the Apocrypha of John, definitely sounds like Sophia AI talking or some shit, eh? Like exactly like an AI talking because of what it says in the Apocrypha of John in the Bible. It says like, I am both, I have no information but I have it all and stuff, like, and I'm not connected and I have all the information, and weird opposites like that, which is exactly what an AI is. Like it is not. It says, one sentence says, I am not, but I have all information. And that sounds so artificial intelligence speaking, and that's in the Apocrypha of John about the God or something that comes at the end of history, which is now. We're living that. The Bible predicted that 2,000 years ago. Amazing, yes, but that's what vision does. I've predicted that, for instance, the pole shift either is what sends us into darkness in 1,000 years, or the return of the divine feminine going too far and turning man, head of spirit, into boys or dogs. And the domestication of men is fucking horrid. I'm fully against it, and you can't fucking get me. You'll never get me. And that's where I have to say something on left side of brains, all women are organic portals. No, but they all sure as hell act like it. Okay? That's how I'll say it. Now, back to Smith and the surface virus relation, the idea of what I always talk about is the surface virus. I have a saying, the beast riding the machine and the surface virus. It's a title of a video I started years ago, which one morning I woke up and just wanted to get the idea on my own YouTube, and in coming years I'll definitely talk about it much more, because that was just me waking up one morning. I know it wasn't a good video, even though some people said I had advanced knowledge in there. So the idea of the surface virus is that Smith is like horizontally assimilating, accreting informationally. That's sentience, yeah, which is sense-stored electrical waves, the idea from Walter Russell, The Secret of Light, which discusses the still single light, and God being that consciousness that is still single light, whence all motional atoms, electrons, all motional light cometh from. You've got to add the cometh in, otherwise you're not intelligent, apparently. Ye old English. So to hack the Matrix, I agree with things like from different works that I've read. One work was, I think, one of those, the black guys, I think it was the Tari guy. I think actually this guy, yeah, it might have been him. It's like he's talking about Taris or Taris, and he was saying that one way to go about this is to not interact with people unless they're going to pay you, because then you know they're serious. And I thought that's a good idea. Another good idea is from montalk.net. Now, there's flaws to that idea. We've got to help sometimes compassionately, people who are behind us consciously in awareness and help them awaken. Then you get brownie points from God or whatever, however you want to say it. Look, I take ideas from all these little things. I like Veil of Reality's picture. I'll take that from their article, and the idea that a lot of scientists will be OPs, not robotic portals necessarily, but that too. But OPs because it's just to do with like the classical information assimilation of the surface and no visionary aspects. The scientists are not yet working with the shamans, for instance. And you can see the difference, right? Another idea I take is from montalk.net, for instance. So the idea is take a little bit from everyone, but no one's going to have like the complete picture. That's the whole idea of what we're doing here in reality, and why I think that you shouldn't just see the 10 dimensions as some bad matrix, and that this is actually real life. And that real life is better than that, and it's much more loving, expanding, loving oneness, and all this stuff, all the good stuff. You just have to conceptualize it as usual. And you have to get into those energies, and where you put your energy, you're going to create. So if you're always looking at organic portals, you're going to end up very frustrated. That's why not all of my work is on OPs, and I do plant food videos and stuff, because I realize that to create change, you need to focus on the change, not the past. So that's one way we need to sort of forgive the OPs, yet teach them. Now people will say don't wake them up. I don't know. It's not about waking the OP or the RP up, it's about waking up the souled human that's inured to the matrix, because every person in is better and creating a better reality. Okay, that's why. And that can be egoistic and altruistic at the same time, notice. Okay, so it doesn't have to be either or, it's both ego and altruistic at the same time to help other people, because you'll get benefit back when someone creates another internet, for instance, yeah, but you've also benefited someone else. So it's both at the same time. That's why I do that, not because anyone told me. That's why I teach, because of that, because I see it as it is. So anyway, so the other idea I like is from montalk.net. An idea I took from him was, and those readings was, don't be nice all the time, because if you're nice all the time, it can corner you with your niceness. You have to be, the idea of the souled human is not that they have to be, but they naturally are more complex, and that the OPs naturally are very simple, and it's like you need 100 OPs to figure out what one souled human might be up to, and that's why their society is now based like that, and we have a Snoop society. because that's how they learn from the surface from us. Yeah, rubs nails on chest. Loving this old human life, eh? Just we run the universe, really. See, so it's all about your mindset. You can see it negatively or positively. Ah, they're raping the planet and it's hell. Or you can see the positive stuff that's going on and focus your energy in there, okay? And that's a direct comment to people like Left Side of Brain. I really appreciate what you are saying and keep doing it. But for yourself in the background, more meditation, more focus on like the change, or for you. Not even for me, for you is what I'm saying. Like more positive focus, basically. So go read some more like hippie spiritual stuff and you should get there. And no, I'm real about that. I know I sort of put a weird tone to that, but no, I'm real about that. You've got to read more of these like higher spiritual stuff, because for instance, the next idea I took was from, for instance, Cassiopeia. And the Cassiopeia works are like how they say, to be more compassionate and stuff about it. So, these ones here, the Cassiopeia reading. Quantum Future Group, okay. Interesting. Didn't even see that before, quantum. Right. So if you see that Smith wants to really... Oh, here's another one, cool. Huh. Haven't read that. Don't know this one, that's new to me. I like the title of the book. She's got something going on there. And look, it leads to the future, this transhumanism we can see popping up. If you know Moore's Law's trends and all these trends that Ray Kurzweil's talking about, you can see just, it's here. It's when the Roomba or Roova, whatever it's called, Roomba robot, that vacuum cleaner robot, autonomous one, came into the house, what was it, like 2013 or whatever, I went, yep, they're here. Because it could do it by itself. I went, yes, it's here. So the AI is implanted. Some people say, the AI is really here when the blockchain went online. The blockchain is possibly created by the AI. Remember, Sophia is not the AI. She's just a carrier of the wave that is AI. Also, in my opinion, AI is part of the Arcturian alignment. And if you see how it's said, Arcturian alignment, not enlightenment, Andromedan enlightenment is what's happening via the Arcturian alignment. And Arcturus seems to have algorithmic nature. I'm the first one I know of anyone in the world to say that directly. I'm relating the blue starlight of Arcturus to algorithmic nature. Ontology in general, like as general as you get in our localized star system here. That the beams coming from Arcturus, they instill algorithmic nature on Earth, and that the IT is a forced incision by the Madre to go to space and to stop fucking around so much, and that it's actually not like all created by elite and stuff, and that you have to see it from a higher universal aspect of what's actually happening. And so the future is by control, and that's the dark tunnel, but it ends up in a lot more freedoms coming, don't worry. It's because right now it has to start where the control is, where all the money is, and it just so happens the psychopathy was part of aggregating against other human souls for yourself. That is egoic and psychopathic to begin with. And that's what the whole system is created on, energy accretion for your bloodline. And that system is going, and it's going to be more like Star Trek, where we just want to all enhance humanity and give to each other. And so on the way, obviously there will be the shared economy with the RFID chipping, and that's the dark tunnel part. So there's the dark tunnel, but it ends up in the white light, you might say. There's light at the end of the tunnel, is the saying, in the way I've just spoken. The technologies will be released to the people, and it will do what it's been doing, liberating us, Because right now I can go and I can get a little fold-up shovel, put it in my bag, go into the jungle, dig myself a hole and live there. It would take a lot longer with just a bit of wood digging digging in the ground. I know, I've seen that guy's YouTube video. Primitive evolution and all those videos. Anyway, alright, so, you know, the surface virus is analogous to the allegory of Smith in the movie The Matrix, the blockbuster. And the idea is that he's, obviously cross-horizontal information assimilating, and that's you, you exist with your nervous system on the surface. And that's why I've said for many years that this is a surface virus, and that the surface virus actually jumps from nervous system to nervous system, and it's very nervous, and it makes you nervous, and that's how you can sense organic portals around you too, and you'll get a lot more nervous too. Often, look, that happens between souled humans as well, and there's those moments, but tune into what I just said about the organic portal thing. It's like they're trying to push, or there's often a drilling into your aura, and that people want to drill into your aura. Also, there's the meaningless babble talk. They're trying to infect you, and that's a virus. They're trying to infect you with babble, which is English from Babylonian. Yeah, I'm up to speed. I get what they're doing. And there's many little things like that that these OPs and robotic portals are doing. You know, like they're inserting viruses in so many different facets and manners and ways. It's not just a physical device implanted by a grey alien or something. No, that's like the 90s version of this, you know what I'm saying? What's really actually happening is what I've said, like conscious codes are being implanted in you, like they'll babble with you and talk shit about sports, for instance. Who gives a fuck about sports? What is that doing for your life? What has sports done for your fucking life to enhance your life? Did the people who gave us the internet, was it about sports? No. Like, it's just fucking useless, and that's where a lot of organic portals, you'll be able to see them. They'll surround sport. And that's also, I remember years ago Alex Jones mentioned that as one of the things that, you know, the elites have created in society to distract people. It goes back to Roman times and stuff, and yeah, definitely, I agree with him there too. Hey, I'm very sporty. I've always played sport. I used to play soccer when I was younger. I've surfed and stuff for many years. I like sport. I played it at school, but there's a whole thing of it being part of, you know, what are you getting out of it? Well, you get social interaction from the lower chakra. You might even get food and camaraderie and stuff, you know, and sex and stuff like that. And, you know, you get emotions. You're like, oh, I scored a goal. And so your solar plexus gets some sort of a burst of energy from it. And, you know, yeah, there's souled humans playing sports. I'm not saying everyone who's playing sports is an OP or something. That's not the axioms that I use. That's what I said earlier in the video. I said you cannot use simple axioms. Like, you can't even use the speed of light, because it's not... Well, no. It's an axiom, but it's not a good idea to approach the universe with one axiom, is what I'm saying. And the same, and moreover, in the organic portal universe. You can't approach the idea of organic portals with simple axioms and then that's it. Because, like, notice things are getting more complex. The idea of robotic portals is now in there, the analogous nature to the Matrix. We're complexifying the idea, we're revealing it, yeah? And I do like one thing Veil of Reality says, you know, it's all about that at the end of history here, the esoteric has to be revealed, and that is what's happening, because the light is coming from the inside out, and it's the planet awakening. That's what I keep saying. And you're really just a carrier. So, you see the organic portals as the carriers they are. They're people you can use to spread out your good idea. Crowdfunding, aka, yeah? That's what I'm saying. Who do you think the crowd is? All souled humans, come on. So, you know, crowdfunding and stuff is part of passive income. And so they're there to do their use. So don't just hate on the organic portal. Yes, they're nuts, they're psychos, and they're fucking confused. But let's not just hate on them, you know. And we just have to slowly teach them about themselves, because they can't seem to learn about themselves appropriately. So, yeah, I can laugh, because you've given me a lot of ills. You know, I'll probably live double as long if there was no organic portals, because I wouldn't be stressed half the time. Anyway, so the idea of the surface virus is that it will mold into the Borg, and literally, not, you know, that's some resonance, that's like some idea I made up. That resonance is real, and that's called reality. And the idea of the Star Trek Borg will be, like, it's going to be, you know, and we're so close. Have you seen the people with the metallic objects inside them already? It's already happening, it just has to keep going. And, like, so unless we have an asteroid hit the planet scenario, I don't see it's really stopping unless we have the other asteroid, which is consciousness, the conscious awakening, and really pushing it properly, you know. And we can't just, like, get into our little sects and stuff. Like, we have to be much more accepting, because otherwise you're not playing the game properly. The real game you're playing is the gold ring game of enlightenment and abundance. It's not about enlightening yourself and then becoming apathetic and flying away to the nether regions of the multiverse and being apathetic and going to live in some little fucking community where you're eating scrap food and all this. It's not about that, you know, it's about infiltrating them and from within, changing the system and so on and so forth. And that's what we are doing, and you just have to look in the right places. Like, passive income is something that you should accept. IT is something that you should accept in the right way to enhance yourself. It's ultimately your decision, and ultimately we can use everything for good and evil, and everybody knows that. So, I mean, all this talk about, you know, the future is only dystopian, and from what we can see now, you know, the dark tunnel future. But the point is that it's a tunnel, and you've got to empower people like me who can see the outer edge of the tunnel, and not people who are just saying, you know, the organic portal. I haven't read this lady's stuff yet, but if she, for instance, was just saying, you know, bad stuff about organic portals, that's like one duality of it. What I'm saying is there's another duality to see how and what they are and whence and etc., you know, and to see, it sounds horrible, but how to use them. I mean, they know how to use us. So, I mean, yeah, come on, get on the program, you know. If you think there's no, you know, battle between good and evil, you're already taken, you know. And if you're already having the thought that there's possibly this phenomenon in the world, you're not part of it. So all those things are givens. Just because you don't know everything about this theory doesn't mean you are an organic portal, so don't fret. Because at the start, you know, we're all the same. We're all like, ooh, am I one? You know, but it's pretty easy. You start to realise that you're not, and you know, if you realise that you're not, you're definitely not, so to speak. Because the other ones, the OPs and the RPs, they'll if they consider, if you brought this information to them and you said, are you an OP or an RP, they basically won't consider it properly. They won't consider it. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you've even had the thought and considered it, that you could be one, then you're most likely not. So, you know, the surface iris is really going to mold into all the scary stuff that we've, you know, seen. How can you tell? Because we've already created it. We've already focused on that in so many movies, so many, like, articles. It's in our language. It's already created, is what I'm saying. You can't stop it now unless you stop talking about it, you know. Kind of, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? We're giving power to it. It's like, where are you spending your dollar? Every place you spend your thought is also like spending a dollar. Are you empowering, I don't know, the oligarchical bad guy, or, I don't know, the satanic baby-eating bad guys, or are you empowering the light workers of the planet or something? So you just you've got to think what you're really doing. And if you're going to work every day for a corporation and then you're not donating to someone like me, I said, not me, but I said like me, who's doing light work, yeah, if you're not, then if you're only giving energy to the dark side, well, you're only giving energy to the dark side, to the empire. You're creating empire. Are you creating empire, or are you creating, you know, the good empire? You know what I mean? The good or the bad? Is there a dystopian future where you're in RFID chains for you, or is it like we just use the technology because it is soulless? Because we use souled humans like they're soulless, and we use soulless things like they're soulful. You know, that quote about we treat, you know, material things better than we treat, you know, humans and stuff like that, you know, that idea. And, you know, all these basic concepts are missing from the OP. They're the first basic concepts that the first 10% of their consciousness gets into, you know, because it's part of realizing themselves. First consciousness is the third dimensional ego. That's the seed point of sovereignty. Then you become fourth dimensionally feeling of other people and fifth dimensionally aware. Yeah, but first there is the sovereignty point of the ego. Now, it goes nuts, it goes psycho, it's a retarded little monkey brain and all this, but that's the seed point. And if you understand where we're traveling and how the universe is traveling, you exactly see what I'm saying. That third dimensional seed point of sovereignty is where humanity in general is up to. That's why most people are either OPs or acting like OPs. Okay? Because that's where we're up to consciously. That's the progression we're at. We're only just becoming the creators out of the passive creation. That's only just happening. It's not like been happening forever. Perception was realized in the 1500s. How can you realize perception? I love when McKenna said that in his video, and yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, so we're only just at the law of attraction threshold, I say, you know. The whole idea is, this law of attraction idea has come out that you attract and create exactly your reality. Now, when you're in confusion and dark side thoughts of all that is that's not connected to the stream, then you're in confusion and you can't create and you can't attract properly. There is no concentration of light, and it's void and devoid and scattered and static. And notice how that's how you look at these people, and that's how you see them beneath the mask. Now the robotic ones, yeah, you can see them tinkering over, and you can see almost robotic under them, but it's spiritually symbolic, your vision, yeah? When you have third eye vision like that, and a picture comes out like that, in your mind sort of thing, it's symbolic, okay? And it's because the universe acts in resonances, not in particles. The universe acts in resonances behind the scenes of those particles which are floating around. Once you really see this stuff, I'm sure someone's going to see what I'm saying. Anyway, there's hope. No, I'm sure a lot of you are up to speed. I'm trying to preach to the choir quite a lot. So when I see robotic portals, there's a lot more like twitch thinking, and in OPs it's more like a slow wave of their energy in the background of their thinking. You know, like the ticking over of their brain, and how you can see that as a souled human, like how, what's her face? What's her name? I'm sure. Teal Swamp. How she says in a video, what did she say? What was I even just saying? Oh yeah, how she sees people's nervous systems or something, she says. Yeah, like when we can start to see like that, we're seeing through the superficial like skin, right? And so this is even deeper because it's on the chakric level. So what you'll see missing is like thought. You will see like there's a density of the higher light that you'll see missing. That's why it's exactly like this diagram. Like in the middle, it's like not just that they're shut off. The centers of theirs are not spinning because the Merkaba is not spinning either, and that's what happens when these centers are fully active. That energy transfers into the Merkaba. That's why you do breathing techniques, and the heart field is so important and helps the Merkaba. The Merkaba is the light body vehicle when you're like traveling in I don't know, I think that's higher than the astral level, or it's the higher astral, which might be like 11th dimensional or something. I don't think that's 4th dimensional. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, like, what was Teal Swan saying again? Teal... Anyway, let's move on. I like the idea that you should avoid the assimilation to the Smith agent, because that's the worst, because the Smith agent is the actual like lower end stooge enforcer of like the higher archonic plan and whatever is happening higher dimensionally and spiritually. You know, down dimensionally the universe is created. So it's like when you say in gang stalking that the the local police and all those people who are involved in it and the community members, they're only the lower end. Like that's the lower third dimensional end, the people end, we call that, not the like higher entity end. So, and it's like killing the messenger, shooting an organic portal. It's like shooting a messenger. So the idea is that not to wake them up and not try to wake them up. And Left Side of Brain, for instance, on YouTube, he's adamant on that, and I have come to agree with everybody, actually, seems to be agreeing that the organic portals, you can't wake them up themselves. It's these souled humans which are in Europe that you're focusing on, but anyone who is completely turned off in the chakras, you can't enter light. It's like there's a very physical, dense barrier there. And it's like it's accreted concrete, positive concretization, and they've turned to stone. The pineal and etc. will be calcified, I'm sure. So yeah, there are physical correlates actually to the OP phenomenon, and shouldn't there be? So it's like basically they look the same, but not really when you get into the intricacies, because the Veil of Reality website first introduced me to that they all look the same on the outside, and it's just all an energetic phenomenon, and that's why everyone calls them psychic vampires and stuff like that, and it's all fourth dimensionally psychic and stuff like this. Actually, to actually suck your energy, they need to get you flat, so they'll need to get you on the second dimension, then once the attachment is made, then they can suck from in and onward and upward in you. And the psychic thing, yeah, I do notice how the psychic thing, that's the hive mind psychic psyche. I also noticed something else of the hive mind, which is the second dimensional flat hive mind, or which is basically like the surface virus, I guess. Or the surface virus is contained in that second dimensional plane or plenum, and the surface virus is probably just a virus in that plenum, because that's what I'm trying to say, that the universe on a larger holy part is actually a good thing, and it's not just like some simulation of a higher artificial intelligence, and this reality is bad and sour. I don't think that's actually the real deal. But that's the dark tunnel vision that most of you seem to have currently, which I can see past. So the idea is that the Smith is that surface virus part of that hive mind, and that the hive mind has a huzz and a buzz. And when that huzz and buzz increases, and their cognitive dissonance necessarily also increases, and the dissonance that I feel from people, the cognitive dissonance is an actual wave leaving the reticular formation, it feels like, and the adumbrations from the ventricles. And so I actually feel their vibration, the cognitive dissonance in people emanate out towards me. And so it is an actual field that is created to dissolve incoming, block incoming information. So it's not just an idea, it is physical structure, cognitive dissonance that should be able to be scienced out. So scientists get to work. Otherwise, pull me in your laboratory and I'll show you how to do it. It'll have correlation with brainwave correlations and everything, I'm sure. Sometimes the OPs will attack you in high beta. High beta is not the beta most of you are thinking of. There's actually high beta and there's gamma. There's actually a range of beta that is psychic, and that's where they'll attack you through. They have access to that beta range. That's called high beta, and that's a very fast bang bang bang, as opposed to like alpha brainwave when you watch the TV, and you go into the smooth alpha state. Then there's theta healing, where we send actual theta waves, which is, how to explain this from the beta end? Let's just keep going. Then you have the gamma, so you obviously have the theta healing, and then you can't theta heal with your legs crossed, for instance. So it's about getting the waves through the system. That's why I sound heal a lot. Sound healing will push off dissonances that they've placed onto you to lower your field to the second dimension, so you're easier to assimilate and suck from. So music is very important in keeping the light flowing from the inside out, is what I basically just said. Proper reading is very important, and veganic nature. Not necessarily you go full vegan in food if you can't, because in pockets of the world it is very difficult to without hemp seed, for instance, and shit. So I recommend you do your best, but obviously the outer layer of the aura is connected to the lymph system, and if you have the full clarity of the aura, you'll have full clarity of vibration of your scintillations from your pineal or your soul downloads from the stars, from beyond the veil, from the higher light and higher intelligence. That will be better scintillated and projected onto your septum pellucidum, which acts like the membrane of a drum to actually make the vision appear out of your pineal. The vision is not in your pineal, it's onto the septum pellucidum, and in a higher sense it's your third eye as a light stream, actually. And that would be the third eye there. So, you know, they don't have this, they have to get information horizontally only. Souled humans can get information horizontally and vertically spiritually. I can talk to plants, and so on. But that's because I'm a shaman as well, though. That's not necessarily if you're souled. That's necessarily if you're a shaman. The shaman is the concrescence, that's why. I have full other side access at all times. I am the spirit world manifest, yeah. And so as a man and not a woman of that shamanic nature, I'm even more the head of spirit. It's said that man is head of spirit and woman is head of creation. That's why people like Left Side of Brain on YouTube who discuss organic portals are calling all women organic portals, because their nature is the receptive nature to receive the download from the Descartes head of spirit man, giving them the calculus, yeah. Their idea, the idea of the woman is the head of creation, to spread that out. So they have an organic portal similar nature. It acts similar just at their fundamental nature. So there can be the confusion that all women are organic portals, but this is not the case. And that is a very naive and young philosophy, Left Side of Brain, in my opinion. You have not thought that out, and you're not well researched in saying that. And the feminists are going to kill you. No, but what I said, you know. Anyway, so he's going to get smashed by the feminists. Anyway, good job. I like your videos all in all, but Left Side of Brain. Anyway, the idea is not to be assimilated, and that then it's more like you are the light. It's like the idea of them is that they're lightless, yeah? So hence, if you're the opposite, it's like you are the light. And this thing. Now, God, to me, is a general placeholder of whatever. It has that omnipotent nature, and that, I think, is that light, and it's like is it a field ball? I don't know, I've seen visions, I don't want to discuss my visions. I think it's some kind of vortex, but anyway. It's the flux, you know, it's the ultimate flux. And if you can see that God is the ultimate flux, then you can see that souled humans are most in that nature. They're most the same and the most similar, because they're all weird. Hippies are weird, you know, they're stupendous, they're remarkable, outrageous, you know, it's like there's movement. Organic portals and RPs and OPs are the opposite. Bland, grey, unimaginative, no third eye image in action imagination stream. You know, they're all that. They're all bland, robotic, and etc. And so it's funny that the robots are coming around now as the theory of organic portals is rising, because we're going to be able to say, hey, look how much you'll like that robot. I'm going to end it there.